Welcome once again to this CSS tutorial, and in this video we're going to be talking about the CSS span elements. Well, probably not CSS elements. The span elements, unlike the div elements, it's also an HTML element, okay? But like I said before, just like the div element goes hand in hand with CSS. So goes with the span element. The span element also go hand in hand with CSS. So that's why I decided to introduce this span element in this CSS series. Now, the difference between you can see the div element like a container, and you can also see the span element like a container. But the difference is, for the div element, you can use it to contain lots of elements inside of your web page. You can put lots of things inside of your div element. But for a span element is different from the div element in just a little way. For the span element is mostly used to highlight something on your web page. You can use it to highlight a text. You can use it to highlight a particular word on your text on your web page to stand out. Okay, so let me give you an example of this span element, because that's what we'll be talking about in this video. So to start with this span, this is our index.html over here. Now let's say we want to highlight a particular text. Okay, let's say we want to highlight this inline style. So we are going to highlight this inline style to be stand out on our web page. So anyone that visits our web page will be able to see it to be stand out on our web page. So to do that, to use the span element, you come over here. Since we are going to highlight this inline style over here, so we are going to use the span. You open your tag, and the tag you use is span, and we are going to give it a class. Okay, we are going to give it a class. We will say class, and the class name we are going to remember. Because we are going to style it, so we are going to give it a class of, let me just give it standout, because this word is going to be standout on our web page. So say standout. Okay, so since we are going to highlight this inline style, we are going to close the text. Let's close our span element. So let's cut the closing tag. Remember, that's how you do it. You cut the closing tag. Now paste it at the back of the inline style. So now this inline style, this word over here, this inline style will be highlighted on our web page. So now let's go over to our web page now and refresh this. No, I'm sorry, we need to style it on our CSS. Okay, I forgot that we need to style it on our CSS. So we need to use this class now, this standout class. So let's go over to our CSS. We'll come over here, we'll say dot. Remember, we use the period to specify a class. So we'll say standout. Now let's give this a background color for we to be able to see it. Give it a background color of blue. Now let's go over to our web page now and refresh this. Now we refresh. Now you can see this inline style here is highlighted with a blue color. So that is what the span element does. Okay, it's more like it's a container. You can use it to contain a particular text. It's not like the div. For the div, you can use the div to contain lots of elements, but for the span element is mostly used to highlight text on your web page. Okay, so that is the CSS, that is the span element in HTML. Okay, and we can also highlight some text. You can also highlight other text. Let's just go over to our index.html. Let's go over here. Let's say we want to let's highlight. What are we going to highlight now? Let's highlight this game. Let's highlight the game as well. So as before, we use the span and we give it a class. And let's give this a class of highlights. Give this one a class of highlights. Now let's close our span tag. Now let's cut the closing tag. Let's paste it at the back of the game because we are going to highlight the game text. So now let's customize this highlights class. We'll come down here now. We'll say dots highlights. Let's copy this highlight class. Copy the highlight class, and then let's open it, and now let's just give this a color of let's give it a color of yellow. Let's just give it a color of yellow. So now let's refresh on our web page. We have refreshed, and now you can see the game text is now highlighted. It's colored yellow. You can see now we have a yellow games text. You can see the yellow text now is, you can see the yellow game text now is highlighted. So that is how to use the span HTML element. It is used to highlight text on your web page. Okay, so that is how you see it. For the div is a container where you put lots of things, but for the span, I want you to see the span as something you can use to highlight text on your web page to make it look stand out. If you want to highlight a particular text on your web page because you want the user that is coming to your web page to see it, that is when you use the span element in HTML. Yeah, so that will be it for the CSS. That will be it for the CSS span element concerning this video. I will see you guys in the next video.